welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Zell Brooks. I am the host of the Who Asked Me podcast, and I also do episode reviews on all of our favorite Bravo shows, some of our favorite scripted TV shows, and a little bit more over on Instagram and on TikTok. I also post a lot of my podcast episodes here on YouTube, and I realized in my podcast episodes, I don't necessarily go over how I feel about these episodes of the shows in depth. So I decided, why not bring my episode reviews over here to YouTube. So this will be the first one. We are going to be talking about the latest episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16. If I ever don't put the episode number in it, it'll absolutely be in the caption and in the title of this video. So don't worry about that. But let's get into it. First things first. Color me shocked when Britt said that she has a shapewear brand. I mean, it's Atlanta. A lot of people have clothing brands, shapewear brands, things like that. It's just, we're at the end of the season and you're just now deciding you want to talk about this. And listen, if you don't watch me anywhere else, you probably don't know how I feel about Britt Ed. I tried. Okay, I really did. I'm really not a Kenya Moore stan. I'm barely a Kenya Moore fan. But everything that went down leading up to the issue with her and Kenya, no. Up until the hair care incident, I was team Kenya all the way. Kenya still shouldn't have done what she did. I hate that she let that girl get to her. But at the same time, Britt was wrong as the day is long. I think she is an amateur. And I don't like how she handles any situation. So when she starts talking about the go naked, bare naked, somebody said the name is bare and naked now, I rolled my eyes all the way in the back of my head. And listen, when I say it feels like she pulled this brand out of her ass, it feels like she pulled this party out of her ass even quicker, okay? I was shocked, gobsmacked even at the party that she brought onto the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And listen, we've seen fashion shows with no fashions. We have seen parties that are not ready. This was a different level. First of all, I don't care what anybody says. I'm convinced that it was at the golf course at her house. I'm pretty sure someone said that, but it was at the golf course at her house because she got it for a discounted rate or because it was free. You can't tell me anything different, right? Secondly, I care not about golfing. I could care less about clubs, golf balls, dirt, golfers. But for some reason, seeing this party be so underprepared and so tacky, it pissed me off that those ladies were on them people's golf course with their heels on. Just kicking the dirt up, messing up the course. What are y'all? Go inside. Go inside. What is this? What are we watching? And then when you get into the actual details of the party, for those of y'all who do not know, I work in the service industry. I've worked in the service industry for years. I have worked private parties. I have done a multitude of things, right? I have never, ever, ever worked a party where the host is feeding a full meal to certain guests and then passed hors d'oeuvres to other guests. I said on TikTok, this was a cast party with spectators. And listen, while I understand the event planner was late, things were definitely a little underprepared, I still feel like she should not have been talking to her about her mistake because it makes no sense to feed some people, a certain people, a full meal and then others past hors d'oeuvres. Why didn't you feed everybody past hors d'oeuvres? And that's my other thing. Since I've worked in this industry, I feel like it could not have been that much more expensive to give all of the ladies past hors d'oeuvres. That's not a bad idea. This honestly should have just been a cast only party. I don't know why we had to have other people there. And as if the meals and past hors d'oeuvres for separate parties were not enough, she then only gives the cast members the party favors, the go naked, bare naked. Go naked is Portia. The bare naked is Brit, right? And that's another thing. You have Naked Wardrobe, which is a clothing brand, who it's not shapewear, but it's a lot of basics, a lot of, you know, skin toned colors, all of those things. It's just not good marketing to have your brand be named after Go Naked, right? Somebody you share a cast with, and then Naked Wardrobe. But whatever, I digress. The fact that she only gave the women of the cast party favors, because technically that's what those are. And when you're launching a product and you're inviting all of these people here for a party for said product, you should give that product out to everybody. Why did you not have the product for everybody? I mean, how embarrassing. How embarrassing. In the words of Nella, are you not embarrassed? I cannot believe what we watched. I really, really cannot. I really feel like watching Britt Ed is like watching a minor league player get promoted to the major leagues, start in the game and continue to play and fail, but we continue to start them. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And people have thrown bad parties before. Do not get me wrong. We're almost used to it. Sometimes it's downright funny. Again, I have to mention a fashion show with no fashions. However, at least we got to take away a fashion show with no fashions from Sheree's fashion show. What are we even taking away from Britt's Go Naked party, except for that she don't feed people? And she probably upset her HOA with all of that yelling and hollering, because when she was trying to quiet the ladies and saying, we're not doing that in here, this is a classy event, I said, no. The HOA said, girl, you promised none of this. You promised none of this. Now, onto the topics that were being argued about at the party. This is the first episode where I really felt like Shamea was doing a little bit too much, okay? At the end of the day, I really don't think her and Drew have a lot of beef. And I think that they're both right, and I think they're both wrong. I said back when Drew made the comment about this music may pay for Pilar's college, she shouldn't have said that. That was out of bounds, okay? Shamea had no business going to meet up with Ralph. She had no business carrying that bone. And speaking of carrying a bone, I'm sorry, Shamea does give lapdog energy. At this point, she is giving lapdog energy, and I do personally feel like she's a little too sensitive about that comment, because if she wasn't a lapdog, if she really felt that way, then she would not be getting all rah-rah like this. When they showed that clip of her at the radio show, where is all of this coming from? I feel like we missed something. And I know the scene at the, I almost said to Go Naked, Portia got a lot of brands. What is it? Portia, Pampered by Portia. I actually just ordered some of those sheets. I understand that there were a lot of different conversations going on. I just felt like Shamea came in to that radio interview very rah-rah. You're supposed to be focusing on your music, but you're cutting someone else's music down. And not for nothing, we do know that Drew sings. We have heard a couple whoos from Drew. I have not heard a Shamea hit yet. I'm not saying that none of her songs are hits. I'm just saying I have not heard a Shamea song. Never had heard it. You get what I'm saying? Also, watching Shamea bark at that argument between her and Drew, I got the same secondhand embarrassment that I had when I saw Drew throw that bone at whoever she threw that bone at. It was 2 seasons ago. I can't remember. They were in the mountains. That's the same secondhand embarrassment I got. I was like, oh, wow. Don't like this. Kelly is also one that I generally have been enjoying this season so far. However, at the Britt Ed production, she was just getting too rah-rah for me. Especially for things that didn't necessarily involve her. You know, when it was the Juneteenth celebration and Britt and Angela were going back and forth, it was a baby. A baby. We don't talk about that baby though. I'm just like, girl, you're not necessarily in these conversations and you keep giving these ad libs. And usually that stuff does not bother me, right? Because I'm a nosy person. I love to see an argument take place in front of me, and I might say something during it. I might be like, oh no, not that. It's just the over the topness I think about it with Kelly that's really like, Also, she hasn't really given us any business to where somebody could be a waffle Oh no, construction on the new brunch spot. She hasn't given us anything that people can kind of judge her for. So I'm just like, okay, girl, we got it. And lastly, this is the first episode that we see Fedra coming back. And it just feels sloppy. You know, I knew that she was coming back. We all did. I don't know why she was not back sooner, because at this point, I think we only have 4 episodes left after last night. So we're at the end of the season, right? And it kind of feels like we are backsliding into storylines and topics that we already said that we were letting go. Portia says that she was letting the Drew and Dennis thing go, but then we see her sitting here with Fedra, still perpetuating the rumor that Dennis and Drew are sleeping together, booties for beats. And at this point, I'm like, I swear, Portia said that she was over this multiple times now, but here we go. And again, I did think that Drew was grimy and shady for filming with Dennis, right? The people say the music is good, so maybe she had a point and she just entered, as we saw, a partnership with him. I just think that we continue to move past these things, and now Phaedra's here. So not only that one, we are also continuing to perpetuate the rumor that Charles does not acknowledge his wife, Angela. I'm not understanding this. They have been together for over a decade. He's a very high profile person, allegedly. You can get on Google and see who he's married to, and you cannot convince me that these people do not Google each other. So if Google says that they are still married and you know he has a wife, why does it matter if he publicly acknowledges her? If he said, yeah, my wife Angela, and she's been around at events, I need somebody to bring some concrete evidence, okay, that he is currently cheating on her, because she has already said that there's been infidelity in her marriage. She has said, yeah, absolutely. That happened before the show. Is Charles cheating right now? Where are Charles's girls? If they don't exist, if y'all are just saying that, I need you to let it rest. It's tired. It's just such a cheap shot when it comes to shade and like scandal, especially in terms of Atlanta. I'm like, yawn. But that is going to go ahead and wrap up the feelings that I have for this episode. If you share any of the same sentiments as me, if you have any feelings that maybe I didn't mention or a different point of view, please don't forget to drop down in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking of this episode. Listen, I know that people have a lot of feelings about Atlanta and they think that it's not good anymore. I really do think that we are starting to cook with grease. I really gotta say, okay? This season was leaps and bounds better, in my opinion, than the last 2 seasons. Even including the Kenya and Brit of it all. I don't like how that stuff went down, but I still think it's better. And I think that if we keep with this cast, we will be in a good spot in another season or 2. Do not forget to follow me on other platforms, TikTok, Who Asked Zell, Instagram, Who Asked Zell, and Who Asked Me podcast. And of course, all my podcast episodes are posted on this YouTube channel, of course, for more. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all next time.